change your heart. That Albany just left you all the same.
It's a United States love affair with Formula One at the moment, so what a thrill for everyone today to see our drivers lapping COTA at full hot lap speed. It's the Circuit of the Americas, and it's qualifying. Well, you don't need me to remind you that Formula One is now so beloved in the United States that we race here 3 times a year. But let's give respect to COTA, or the Circuit of the Americas, to give it its full name. This place laid the foundations for this moment and still remains the host of the US Grand Prix. We're racing then today in Travis County, Texas, around the 20 corners of this wonderful Circuit of the Americas. We'll be reaching speeds of around 200 miles per hour here today, and there are plenty of good opportunities to pass, especially through the 2 DRS zones into Turn 1 and the long back straight into Turn 12. Let's run you through the driver grid order for today's exciting race. A fantastic effort from Charles Leclerc yesterday, and it's put him on pole. And Sonny Hayes completes the front row. Looking at the rest of today's grid, we have Sainz, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri and Albon, Norris, Russell, Stroll, and Fernando Alonso. Behrman, Hulkenberg, Esteban Ocon and Antonelli. Bortoletto, Pierce, Yuki Tsunoda and Franco Colapinto. Gasly, Doohan, Hadjar and Paul Aron rounds off the grid. Now it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. And alongside me in the commentary box today, former racing driver herself, Naomi Schiff. And let's talk momentum with this driver. What a sprint it was. They start at 0 once again for today, but with a huge amount of confidence, surely. Well, they'll definitely be glad that there's not a sprint race today. Let's face it, the sprint couldn't have gone much worse, but what we're looking for today is a reaction. Now, I'll be generous here. It's not that long ago that you were racing and entertaining us on a Sunday, but in the years since, the sport has changed quite a bit, hasn't it?
It is certainly an interesting time in this set of regulations because, as you know, when a new set of regulations come out, everything changes and you always wonder who's got it right. Well, we know that Red Bull are the ones who really got it right the last couple of years. But now you can see the rest of the grid slowly start to catch up. And there's really only so much left for Red Bull to get out of these regulations. So it is interesting and the pack are catching up.
Okay, mate, radio check, please, radio check. Okay, here we go. I know what you can do. Don't let me down. Okay, DRS is now available. Okay, Sonny, we're seeing a lot of tyre wear in the data. Please focus on looking after your tyres. That wasn't quite what we needed, I'm afraid, but listen, don't worry about it. It's a long way to go, so let's just focus until the end. Okay, final lap. Let's go. Final lap. Yes, and that's a podium. Excellent drive. The whole team have worked especially hard this weekend, and that, my friend, is a fantastic reward. Well done.
And Leclerc to the line, to the checkered flag. It's King Charles today. He wins.
Yes, it absolutely was, and what an incredible victory and an important milestone for them as we head into the business end of the season. You know that that's really going to matter from a confidence perspective to get them to the end of the season with potentially even more of these victories.
Well, it's been a long wait for many of our drivers, but the wait is always worth it. Bring them out to the awaiting crowd. It's time for our podium celebrations. And that is a fabulous win and the top step of the podium for Charles Leclerc. After an event like that, who knows what the sport has in store for us next time out? Be sure to join us once again as we continue to bring you all the excitement of Formula One.